Our opening words this morning. In the English language, the word sanctuary has many meanings, especially in relation to religion and spirituality. How does the word sanctuary relate to protecting our oceans? Randy will light the chalice here in the sanctuary this morning. I invite you to light your own chalice and place it where it can be seen by all of us if you are able. The flame of our chalice this morning is a symbol of the warmth and brightness of our connections. The flame lights our way back together again from our separate summer lives, and it lights our way forward into this new church year of promise and renewal. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind you at home to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing with Mary as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. For the rest of you here, please wear a mask if you wish to actively participate in singing the hymns. So let's all sing the opening hymn. I brought my spirit to the sea. Number 4.
I brought my spirit to the sea. I stood upon the shore. I gazed upon infinity. I heard the waters roar. And then there came a sense of peace. Some whisper calmed my soul, some ancient ministry of stars had made my spirit whole. I brought my spirit to the trees that bloomed against the sky. I touched each wandering, careless breeze to know if God was nigh. And then I felt an inner flame that fiercely burned my tears. Aright I rose from bended knee to meet the asking years.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you have joined us today. We acknowledge that our UUCC sanctuary stands on land that was originally occupied by coastal Chumash indigenous peoples, whose ancestors lived primarily in the San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. As a Unitarian Universalist community, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation inviting speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest to our community that connect with the UU 7 principles. Today's service centers on the 7th principle. We affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Our 7th principle may be our Unitarian Universalist way of coming to fully embrace something greater than ourselves, the interdependent web, expressed as the spirit of life, the ground of all being, the oneness of all existence, the community forming power, the process of life, the creative force, even God, can help us develop that social understanding of ourselves that we and our culture so desperately need. It is a source of meaning to which we can dedicate our lives. My name is Dolores Miera, and I am your worship associate this morning. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you are not on our mailing list, please visit our website at www.uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. And please check out what's happening in a weekly e-blast sent to all our members and friends. This is a great way to keep up with the latest news in our community. And a reminder, if you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom recordings again, because they're so good and you want to see it the second time, recordings of these services can be found on the UUC website and Facebook as well. The membership committee invites non-members to consider joining our community. Please contact Janet Cooper or a person on the board if you are interested. Thank you. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is a recognition of the nature of our community as well as a promise we make and aspire to. So let's now sing the affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help, and to help, and to help one another.
We set aside this time for any short announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. For any items that need more explanation, please call or email the person after the service to be respectful of everyone's time. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand or your Zoom hand by clicking on the raise hand button in the reactions icon. When Andy calls your name, please unmute yourself and speak. So are there any announcements here in the sanctuary? Randy has one.
Whoa. Hey, how's it hanging out there? This is a groovy place here. Hey, I'm a former love child from the 60s. And speaking of love, I would love it if you were, hey, who's bogarting my doogie? Crazy stuff there. Anyway, as I was saying, we're going to have this establishment here, excuse me, I didn't mean establishment, this commune is having an auction next month, October 16th at 4 p.m. And I'm inviting you to submit any items or services that you may wish to have auctioned off, such as roach clips or groovy posters, psychedelic. Oh yeah, or services like lessons on how to roll joints, whatever it is you want to offer up. Please do so by sending a picture and the description of your item or service to Diane DeMarco before the end of this month. Thank you. Peace out.
In any other announcements here in the sanctuary? Okay, Andy, how about Zoomland?
Yes, Dolores. Robert and Nancy, please unmute yourself and make your announcement.
Okay. Hi, this is Nancy. Just a reminder that the Moving Towards Racial Justice group is meeting on this Wednesday to discuss the first 2 days of the 28-day journey that is from the book Me and White Supremacy. Now, anybody who's thinking that they might be interested in joining this group, this is like a perfect opportunity because we're kind of hitting like a restart and it's going kind of from the beginning and working through these 28 days. We'll, and it's not a very long assignment. And anyways, there's information in the newsletter and I'll be sending a link. So everybody's welcome. Hope to see you on Wednesday. Zoom land, of course.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Christine Fox, please unmute yourself.
Good morning. I need a volunteer on Thursday for picking up the school supplies from the sanctuary and bringing them over to the grammar school. This would take about a half an hour, but you just have to be willing and fit enough to do some lugging. So thanks. If you just get in touch with me by email or phone if you're available. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Let's see, next up, Diane DeMarco, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I wanted to remind the women that we have a women's group meeting on Monday, tomorrow. And if you would like an invite, please see the newsletter for my email and just email me and I'll put you on the list and you'll get an invitation. It is from 2 to 4, the first Monday of every month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Lou Patelka, please unmute yourself.
Good morning. Men's group will also meet tomorrow, but this time it's completely Zoom. So Andy will be sending out an invitation and hope to see you there.
Very good, thank you, Lou. Janet Cooper, please unmute yourself. Or is it Joel? Joel and Janet, come on in. Working on that unmute. Looks like Joel is trying to get in. They may be frozen. There you go. Let me see if I can unmute you guys.
Sorry, I do it.
That was an inadvertent hand raise.
Oh, after all that. Okay. Well,
We
thanks
couldn't-
anyway. Good exercise. Dolores, back to you.
How did it raise?
I don't know. Lower it.
Hi, this is the real me. Just like Jan did on July 4th, which was a Sunday, another special holiday for some of us occurs on a Sunday as well. It's October 31st. And so Judy Butler and I are going to host a wacky, what we call a spooky ooky service. So I'm inviting anybody out there to contribute any readings or close encounters of the fifth kind, sightings, whatever it is that you want to share that's kind of the mystical or spooky type of thing. Please let us know or contact me and send me your material, whatever, so we can put that together and have a really fun service that Sunday on the 31st. So if you have any good Halloween stories or whatever it is, please let me know and I'd be happy to have you share it. Okay, so anyway, that's your warning.
Thank you. Are there any more announcements? No, okay. Next week, Andy Fagan and Robert Wilkinson will present what we learned at GA 2021. Mary, this is a time for our birthday celebration. Okay, but we misspelled, sorry.
Robert, fix it. Yeah, it's Wilkinson.
Wilkinson. So we take this time to celebrate all those who have a birthday this month. Birthdays are a special moment. It is a time in which you feel as if the world is taking a moment to invite you into being, just like it was on your day of birth. If you have a birthday this month, please raise your hand or your Zoom hand. And when Andy calls your name, unmute yourself and please reveal your special date. Anyone in the sanctuary? Yes, okay. It's Michelle's birthday this month. What date?
September 18th.
Okay, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Andy.
Yes, indeed. Janet or Joel, please unmute yourself and tell us your birthday.
Okay, thank you. The 25th.
Janet's the 25th.
Okay, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Anyone else in the larger Zoom world? Not so. Look back to you, Dolores.
Okay, well, this birthday candle honors all of the friends and family members of this community who are also celebrating birthdays this month. Goodbye, birthday candle. Over here. Okay, nice. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as part of your personal life. But please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. This is a time of community building. May the collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and sorrows which may have gone unspoken today, but are also deeply felt in this community. Our first reading today is the definition of sanctuary from Wikipedia. Sanctuary is a word derived from the Latin sanctorium, a container for keeping something sacred or cherished. In many Western churches and religions, the area surrounding the altar is called a sanctuary. In the secular world, the sanctuary is used in a variety of ways, including protection for fugitives and for political asylum. The U.S. has identified many sanctuary cities open to immigrants from war-torn countries. Let us join in a time of meditation, of prayer, and of silence. Let us seek the quiet and the calm, laying aside our thoughts and our struggles. And in the silence, may there be a reverence in our hearts, a thankfulness within our spirit, and a deepened understanding of the meaning of our lives. Let us enter the stillness. Please come back now. The second reading is a continuation of the definition of sanctuary. In recent years, the term sanctuary has been applied to living things. Animal sanctuaries are places reserved for wildlife protection. Plant sanctuaries are areas set aside to maintain natural ecosystems or to act as reserves for endangered species. In this presentation, Michele will share with us the role of marine sanctuaries in protecting the unique and special organisms along our coastline. Today's sermon is titled "The Role of Sanctuaries in Marine Conservation," to be delivered by Michele Roest. Michele is a biologist and naturalist with degrees in biology. She teaches biology classes at Cal Poly and at Cuesta College. Michele also serves as the Southern Region Coordinator for the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, one of our country's largest marine protected areas. Michele.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming here. So glad to be here. I honor this wonderful ceremony that I've been invited to be a part of today. And I'm excited to share what my perception and my understanding of sanctuaries with all of you. My name is Michele Roest, and as I mentioned, as Dolores mentioned, thank you, Dolores, I'm a biologist. I'm actually a San Luis Obispo native. I grew up in San Luis Obispo. My father taught in the biology department at Cal Poly for 40 years. So I grew up with an awareness of the natural world, a sensitivity to it that I think has helped make me more successful as a biologist myself. I'm here to talk about the role of sanctuaries in marine conservation. Of course, in the readings, we've already discussed the various meanings of the word sanctuary, and I'm going to present another meaning for you today. But first, I have a very special video I'd like to show you. It talks about a recently discovered place deep in the sea that until now, no one has ever seen before. Please join me in learning about an octopus garden in the sea. When you're ready, please cue up the video.
Exploring the ocean's floor is like traveling to another planet, one we know so little about. It is a place of incredible seascapes, complex biological processes, and home to weird and bizarre-looking creatures. And like far-flung planets, in Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, there is much to explore. Not long ago, 2 miles below the surface, we encountered more than 1,000 deep-sea octopus mothers that have taken reproduction to unprecedented depths. It is one of the rarest octopus brooding colonies on the planet. We knew we had to come back. But would these brooding mothers still be here when we returned? Our return expedition will take us 2 miles down to the base of the Davidson Seamount, an extinct volcano that last erupted over 9 million years ago. Diving to these depths takes great teamwork and requires a lot of specialized technology to get us there. We use 2 types of underwater vehicles.
Attention all crew, Hercules ready for launch.
The Hercules is a remotely operated vehicle equipped with cameras, lights, and scientific tools. It's tethered to the mothership, the Nautilus, and sends video and important data to the science team in the command center. And this is Alvin, the same 3-person submersible that discovered the Titanic. launching from the research vessel Atlantis.
Okay, latch is set. Nice and easy.
Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test.
For the next 8 hours, Alvin will give me a front row seat to observe deep sea life up close. I really hope the octopus are still there. It's permanently dark and very cold down here. The pressure at this depth is bone-crushing. Yet, there is an astounding richness of life. The complex network of biological processes here even interact with those at the surface of the ocean, and ultimately influence the Earth's climate.
1,340 meters. We're coming up a ridge, and we're seeing just massive Paragorgia, the bubblegum coral. So this is Dr. Seuss land.
This long-lived coral can grow 10 feet tall and is made up of a colony of polyps that feed on plankton and marine snow, organic material that sinks from the surface. Aged at about 80 years old, they are one of the younger corals in the Sanctuaries' deep and ancient coral forests. On the Nautilus, the science team has made a rare encounter.
The heck is that?
One of the biggest mammals on Earth has come to check out Hercules, a sperm whale.
Incredible. Awesome.
This charismatic deep diver can hold its breath for over an hour while hunting for its favorite prey of squid.
It's gonna bump you.
No, it's bumping.
It's not known exactly how long whales live, but when these enormous animals die, they sometimes sink to the ocean floor.
Covered in scavengers. It's a happy day to be an octopus.
A whale fall is a welcome addition to the marine menu and feeds a variety of deep water dwellers for many months.
Oh, that octopus looks like it's taking a little taste or sniff with its suckers. So they have chemosensing abilities in some of the suckers.
Those brown fuzzy filaments on the skeleton are new to science, and we've only recently identified them as bone-eating worms. At long last, we've reached the base of the seamount and begin the final leg of our journey to a volcanic outcrop, a hydrothermal active zone. It's eerily still, with no octopus in sight. But then, just over a ridge about 150 feet away,
3,200 meters here at the Octopus Garden, and we ran right into some shimmering flow.
and there they were. We found what we came for. At least 1,000 brooding octopus tucked into the cracks and fissures of volcanic rock. These are female octopuses curled up in an unusual, vulnerable posture, exposing their mouths as they take care of their eggs cemented to the volcanic rock. And that's shimmering. That's a hydrothermal seep of warm water escaping from deep under the ocean floor, literally forming this hotspot of life. Using her arms, she circulates water and keeps the eggs debris-free while guarding her brood. She won't leave them alone for a second, not even to feed. Our instruments measure that the hydrothermal seep is significantly warmer than the ambient seawater, and oxygen levels are lower. Could the mothers be using this warm water to shorten the incubation time? The data we collect here will help us better understand how the mothers and their eggs are able to survive under these unusual and extreme conditions. These images are some of the first ever of a baby octopus hatching in a thermal spa environment. Once born, they are at the mercy of the ocean. And where they go from here and how long they live remains a mystery. For an octopus, reproduction is the final act of its life. Males die shortly after mating. At this depth, brooding mothers probably live for at least a couple of years and will die shortly after their eggs hatch. But as yet, we still don't know how long incubation is.
I'm estimating we're on surface 20 hours.
My trip to the octopus garden has passed quickly, and it's time to leave this magical place. As always, after every dive, there are more questions than answers.
Okay, you're clear.
Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary is one of the most explored regions of any ocean. And thanks to the dedicated research partnerships, we will continue to make important discoveries. Corals, sponges, and many other animals have been protected in the sanctuary for decades. And by chance, the only hydrothermal octopus nursery in the world known to science today, where eggs actually hatch, has also been safeguarded. So it just goes to show how conservation sometimes winds up protecting much more than you realize. And it's one more good reason why we need to extend protection to all of the oceans on our planet.
I hope you enjoyed that. I know I certainly did. I'm very proud to be part of an agency that conducts this kind of exploration, deep sea research, and shares that information and knowledge with others. So today, my presentation, as you call it, a sermon, is designed to help you understand the role of marine sanctuaries in protecting our natural resources. All right. Let's see if I can make this go. There we go. All right. I spent a little bit of my time with our video, which I'm sure you enjoyed. I'll be moving through these slides fairly quickly for the next 10 minutes. And this slide didn't necessarily copy well, but I'll explain it for you. This is a picture of areas that have been identified in the United States, considered biodiversity hotspots. And you can see that the top 6 hotspots in the United States, of those 6, 3 of them are in California. Why is that? What makes California so special? It is, in fact, so special because there's such a diversity of species and a diversity of habitats and ecosystems on the land and also in the sea. We're going to look at just a couple pictures of these. Of course, the beautiful Big Sur coastline, unique. People come from all over the world to drive the Big Sur coastline right outside our backyard. The elephant seals at Piedras Blancas, the largest mainland colony of northern elephant seals in the world. We take them for granted because they're part of our backyard, and yet they are unique and unusual. We're so lucky right now. It's late summer. This is the time of year for feeding frenzies. I've been watching them off of our coast. Seabirds, dolphins, whales coming close to shore to feed on the abundant life existing off of our coastline. And we as humans get to enjoy the show. We have unique species like sea otters that only occur in the Pacific in very few places. We have beautiful tide pools, amazingly abundant kelp forests. And yet for us, it just seems like our own backyard. We forget how unique and unusual these special places are. National marine sanctuaries are dedicated to protecting the diverse ecosystems and species within the boundaries of the national marine sanctuaries. These are areas that have been considered America's underwater jewels. They're like the national parks of the sea. They are areas that have unique and special ecological, commercial, recreational, aesthetic, archaeological qualities about them. Here is a picture, a map of national marine sanctuaries in the United States. You can see that there's quite a few on the East Coast, including at least one in the Great Lakes region. And then you can see on the West Coast a series of stepping stones of national marine sanctuaries all along the California coastline, and one up in the Olympic coast. The United States is not the first country to create marine protected areas or national marine sanctuaries. You can see from this map that other countries have protected areas in their coastal waters as well, including Australia's Great Barrier Reef, and other places along the coast of New Zealand. Parts of the ocean are protected by France, the UK, and other major countries. In fact, the marine sanctuaries in our North American area are so small they don't even make it on this map, except for the Hawaiian Islands Marine National Monument. NOAA is the agency that was designated by the federal government to protect our special underwater jewels. We are under the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. You may recognize some of our sister agencies, including the National Weather Service and the National Marine Fisheries Service. Together, these agencies work to understand and protect our ocean environment. The first National Marine Sanctuary was designated in 1973, and it was created to protect not an ecological treasure, but a cultural one, the wreck of the USS Monitor, which went down in an incredible battle with the Merrimack during the Civil War. When the Monitor sank, it was lost at sea for nearly 100 years. When it was discovered by divers in only 1,700 feet of water, it was plundered, but that's against the law. People lost their lives on the wreck of the Monitor. It's actually a US naval burial site. Until 1972, the United States didn't have a means to protect these special underwater places. And so the first National Marine Sanctuary was to protect the wreck of the Monitor. Since then, other national marine sanctuaries have been created, and certain activities are prohibited in all national marine sanctuaries. And the words are not on this slideshow, so I'm going to describe these things for you. For example, mining for natural resources in ways that would disturb the seafloor is prohibited in the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. And you can see here, this is what we don't see off of our coastline. Oil exploration platforms there between the Piedras Blancas rocks. This has been a photoshopped image to show you what we don't see. Additionally, marine sanctuaries prohibit disturbance of wildlife, including activities that would disturb wildlife, like jet skis. Here again, superimposed on a beautiful picture of the Piedras Blancas rocks. You can bring your jet ski to Morro Bay, but they are prohibited within the boundaries of the sanctuaries. Our National Marine Sanctuary, the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, comes all the way down to Cambria. Next time you walk on the Fiscalini Ranch, look for the sign that designates the southern boundary of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. You'll see it there. If you start at the north end of the Bluff Trail, you'll walk southward, you'll see an offshore rock, and there's a sign there that welcomes you to the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. That's actually the southern boundary. If you continue walking south on the Fiscalini Ranch, you'll be walking outside of our sanctuary boundaries. It's very exciting to live in such a transition zone between two areas, the largest marine protected area in the United States and an area that doesn't have that kind of protection. We conduct various activities. We're mandated by the federal government to conduct research. Research is for our ability to understand the natural resources. And you see there Chad King, who took us on the voyage to the Octopus Garden, entering a small manned submarine there, the Delta, to explore the wreck of the Montebello, which is just less than half a mile from shore. It was a oil tanker that was torpedoed in 1941, and the wreck remains. We also do research in intertidal zones and special ecosystems. We have a mandate to protect our resources, both cultural and natural resources, and we do that with a law enforcement division. Wildlife protection is an important mandate for our agency as well. Every time there is a grounding of a vessel, there is the risk of spill of gas and oil that could impact our resources. We're also deeply involved with protecting wildlife from marine debris and plastics. You can see in the lower left, those are elephant seals looking up at a drone going right over their head, which is why this area is a no drone zone. It causes wildlife disturbance. And as I mentioned before, cultural history is just as important. Here in the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, off the Big Sur coastline, lies the wreck of the Macon, one of the last naval dirigibles that went down in a storm in 1933. We try to use humor sometimes. Some of you are familiar with this poster. We worked with the graphic design department at Cal Poly to come up with a humorous message, not to disturb wildlife, but also for self-protection as well. You'll see this poster outside the window at the Friends of the Elephant Seal office. And finally, we have two nature centers here. One in San Simeon, the Coastal Discovery Center at San Simeon Bay. I work in that visitor center. There's another one up in Santa Cruz, the Sanctuary Exploration Center. This is where we share our knowledge with the public. Unfortunately, right now, these facilities are closed due to COVID, but we look forward to the day when we can reopen and welcome our visitors. You can see here, this is a little bit of a difficult map to see perhaps on your screen, but the red and blue squares that march all the way up our coastline are state marine reserves in state waters, all encompassed by the much larger boundary of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. These marine preserves act as little stepping stones for wildlife on their migration pathway north and south to find places of refuge, of safety, of sanctuary, to allow them to rest and recover and regain their strength to continue their journey throughout life. California just became the first state to commit to protecting 30% of its land by 2030. We're also striving for protection of 30% of California coastal waters by 2030. Some of you may be aware that another marine sanctuary has been proposed along the stepping stones of coastal California. You may hear more about proposals to fill the gap between the southern boundary of Monterey Bay and the northern boundary of the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary. That proposed marine sanctuary would be called the Chumash Heritage National Marine Sanctuary to honor and respect our indigenous peoples and their history along our coastline. If you have any further questions, you're welcome to contact me, michele.roest@noaa.gov. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today.
Thank you. Oops. Thank you, Michelle. That was very interesting. Morning offering will now be given and received. Please keep in mind that our congregation is entirely self-governed by democratic process, and one of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. You are invited to participate in the blessing of giving. For those at home, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. Our thanks for all gifts given and received for the work of this community. Now let's sing the doxology.
Our praise we give for harbors lee, for moorings safe in waters still, but more the leagues of open sea, where favoring gales our canvas still.
Please join in singing the closing hymn, Octopus's Garden by Ringo Starr.
I was laughing at myself because I sang a wrong word. See, I told you. I sing wrong words sometimes on that last, on the doxology. Okay, we're ready.
I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade.
He let us in, knows where we've been, in his octopus's garden in the shade. I'd ask my friends to come and see an octopus's garden with me. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. We would be warm below the storm in our little hideaway beneath the waves, resting our head on the seabed in an octopus's garden near a cave. We would sing and dance around because we know we can't be found. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. We would shout and swim about the coral that lies beneath the waves. Oh, what joy for every girl and boy, knowing they're happy and they're safe. We would be so happy, you and me, no one there to tell us what to do. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden with you. In an octopus's garden with you. In an octopus's garden with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary. No. After the we extinguish the flames. Third time works like a charm. Another sip of coffee. All right, let's all recite the valediction. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, and we know that the light of truth and love and the warmth of this community will go with us until we meet again. So please extinguish your chalice at home now. After the benediction, please click on the gallery view button in the upper right corner of your screen, but please remain muted. Andy will call on you when you raise your Zoom hand. Michele?
Hello again. That was fun, wasn't it? Octopus's Garden. The question remains, how did Ringo Starr write that song 50 years before that Octopus's Garden was discovered? We didn't even have the technology. That's a good question to ask. And throughout the rest of this week, keep the thought of sanctuary in your mind and all of its different meanings for you. What does sanctuary mean to you on a personal level, a spiritual, religious, political, ecological level? And how can you find and create a sense of sanctuary within your own internal self. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here. I will remain here to answer any questions that you have.